Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to give you some dismal Disney news.
It's not our fault.
It's not our fault that Disney is nothing but dismal news.
Right, not our fault. We just report the news. We don't create it.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about the situation with Disneyland in particular not being allowed to reopen, the amounts of money that Disneyland is losing, and some of the political stuff going on with Disneyland. So stay tuned. This is probably going to be pretty long, I think.
Yeah.
We got a lot of ground to cover. We did cover some of this on piratesandprincesses.net. If you haven't checked out the website yet, go out there. And we also did a video recap of this a couple days ago, but there's been some new news. So please subscribe to Clownfish TV for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We're at about 150,000 almost.
Yay!
So thank you for the support, guys. It means a lot. It helps us stay on the air.
That's right.
We're not really on the air. We're on the internet. But
they know what you mean. It's all good.
All right.
Stop beating around the bush and get to the point.
Okay, so here. It's been 214 days. This is like a week ago since Disneyland closed. And for these super fans, it's agony.
Oh, well, I'm not trying to be a jerk, but, you know.
We're going to talk about that. So
Who flipping who?
The LA Times.
The employees, it's bigger agony.
That's the problem. The LA Times is talking about how painful it's been for social media influencers to not be able to go to Disneyland for 6 or 7 months.
But can I say something? For Instagram especially, you're not like really monetizing it.
No.
So I'm like, I don't understand. It's like, you know, the employees who need it to live.
Right. Well, some of these influencers are like YouTubers or they own blogs or whatever, and I'm sure the ad revenue. Yeah, the ad revenue is drying up.
But so do we. And we're fine.
Yeah, I know, right? We are fine. We pivoted, and thank God.
I love that shirt. I tell you what,
that is a cool
I would
shirt.
rock that outfit. I would totally wear that.
Thank God we don't just cover Disney news, because if we only covered Disney and travel-related stuff, we probably would have gone under too.
That's right.
But I think this is kind of like tone deaf. Like, oh my God, it's so sad for the people who can't go.
Okay, but these influencers, especially Instagram ones, all of it is a culture of self, glorification. It's just a culture of they go there and some of them take pictures of the parks and they actually promote the parks. But the majority of the ones that go themselves influencers, they take pictures of their damn selves everywhere. They have to sit on the ground or laying on the ground and do different things to be like, look at me, look at me, look at me. It's about them, not about the parks. And so it's probably causing them great stress to not have the likes about themselves every 5 seconds.
To not get those upvotes.
Not everybody's like that, obviously.
No.
I'm not going to say everyone is like that. But the majority of these, especially Instagram, quote unquote, influencers and lifestylers, is basically a culture of taking pictures of themselves to promote themselves. That's what it's about. They don't really make money doing it unless you follow a link to, they get some kind of kickback on sales or something.
Yeah.
And even then, like Shop Disney, they only give you like, what is it? It's like 2%.
It's like 2%.
It's ridiculously low. So what's the point? You have to sell a shit ton of stuff to make any money.
There is no point. There really isn't a point.
Other than taking pictures of yourself.
Right.
Speaking of which, I have an Instagram out there, Geeky Does Disney, where basically I mock this culture. It's basically me mocking this. So, I want to call pictures of, there's Ryoki and there's Sir Charles Toasty Butternut's Pendragon III with Trisket dressed as chicken and waffles. And
chicken and waffles.
And, it's just me, like, the picture says fairest of them all and stuff like that. It's me kind of like, poking fun at this whole culture of, and the one picture I even put down, like I said, oh, makeup's by this, ears by this, shirt from Goodwill, because they always are like, hair, makeup is this, shoes are this, shirt is this, follow my link and go buy it. And I just like, shirt, Goodwill.
All right, so Geeky Does Disney. There you go, guys. So anyway, aside from the influencers, the bigger problem with Disneyland is the amount of money that it's losing and the unemployment that is
the issue. The unemployment
is it's a huge issue, and people aren't really grasping like how catastrophic these shutdowns have been for Florida and Anaheim, because The entire economy of those towns, Anaheim and Orlando, are based on Disney.
Yeah, pretty much, or theme parks in general.
Right. So it's not just, the park being down. It's all of the surrounding hotels, restaurants, airports.
They said Anaheim is losing billions of dollars or millions of dollars off of their money they make from Disney and taxes. And the city itself is facing a huge loss that's impacting everyone because they can't reopen Disneyland.
Yeah, and we talked about this the other day, but it is worth mentioning. Now, Disneyland is not as big of a revenue generator as Disney World.
No, Disney World's way larger.
It's way bigger, and people were like, it's the same thing. No, it's
They're very
not.
different.
But it is costing billions of dollars to keep this park shut. And we're going to talk about people trying to get reopened and the hurdles in getting it reopened. But Disneyland Resort has lost an estimated $2.2 billion in revenue during the 216-day closure of the Anaheim theme park, according to Moffett-Nathanson founding partner Michael Nathanson. $2.2 billion. And that's not even included, because they've got 3 hotels. Mm-hmm. They've got, now downtown Disney is open. It's open right now. Mm. But the 3 hotels and the 2 theme parks. But it's not just that. It's the entire area.
There's a lot of other side businesses that we see it in Orlando too. They rent strollers, they rent wheelchairs, they do different things like that affects. They get a hit. They take a hit as well.
Yeah, because Disneyland last year made $3.8 billion in revenue, according to Nathanson. That works out to approximately $10 million in daily revenue generated just by Disneyland. But there's a study by this college, Cal State Fullerton's Woods Center for Economic Analysis and Forecasting. Holy hell, how do you write all that every time you want to talk about it?
I don't know.
It said that Disneyland added $8.5 billion annually to the Southern California economy. That means the closure of Disneyland could be costing Southern California as much as $23 million a day, or $5 billion during the closure, based on estimates.
Well, yeah, because and they also have the convention center, which is right there by Disneyland also, and they're closed, and that's causing them a great loss too. And the convention center kind of like symbiotic with Disney. They work off each other.
Yeah, so it's not just Disney employees, and they laid off 28,000 cast members. Of course, that includes so far. Wait until after the earnings call.
Because if they're gonna shift focus, a lot more people in California, especially, I would say mostly, are going to probably there's going to be some cuts and some other changes, mostly hitting California.
Well, yeah, because they're laying off union members. They're laying off people from Club 33, which is a very exclusive club. It's like $10,000 to buy in.
Oh, I think it's more than that. That's like the annual dues.
That's the dues. I think it might be like $100,000 to buy into.
It's ridiculous. I don't know.
It's insane.
It's a lot. I don't know off the top of my head because I haven't checked.
Okay, so anyway, there was a rally held over the weekend to open Disneyland. Now, of course, the biggest hurdle in reopening Disneyland is California's Governor Newsom, who doesn't, even though Disney has showed them that they can do it in Disney World safely, I guess. It's as good as they can do.
It's going to be very hard to prove that you got COVID from Disney.
Right. But they've been open for several months now, and there hasn't been any cases tied directly to Disney. Again, you can't really prove that, but that's the story they're going with. So they show that they can open it. Or Universal Orlando's also open. We were actually there a couple weeks ago, and we didn't get COVID.
No, honestly,
as far as I know.
Honestly, if they can do it in other places around the world, and most of their states are allowing their parks to open and things, there's no reason why California can't do it as well if they follow guidelines. It's just Newsom refuses to allow it for whatever reason. Right.
So they had a rally, and they talked about this. We talked about it over the weekend, that they were going to do it on Saturday. I expected hundreds of people or thousands of people.
I did too. I expected a lot of people to show up.
About 20 people showed up.
It was a little more than 20, they said, according to Variety.
According to Variety, only 20 people came. 20-something people showed up. Now, they had articles on this on other news outlets talking about how they had this rally. And, again, I expect it to be a bigger deal. But now the snag is apparently this was a right-wing thing. Like,
Oh, that was what it was?
I think that was part of the issue.
Most of the people that showed up, I think, were like people just wanted to go into the park. They were fans. When they interviewed people, it was this family. It was a mother, her daughter, and then the granddaughter that showed up. And these were all adult women. And they were talking about how they supported the cast members because cast members always supported them, which I 100% stand behind and agree with. And the grandma, she's been there, she's 95. She showed up for this rally, 95-year-old woman.
Oh my God.
Came out to support the cast members because she's been going since it opened and she really wanted to show her support for the cast members. So, even though not a lot of people showed up, the fact that this lady did, I mean, man, she makes up for 100 of them, honestly. Yeah. But they didn't have people show up. You'd think that the employees and things would be showing up, but then they didn't. But you said it's because it's led by some right-wing group. I honestly don't know.
Yeah, that's what I read. It was mostly a right-wing thing. So I don't know. I mean, look, they've got precedent that they can do it safely in Florida. We know that California is in major lockdown right now, that people are losing businesses daily in California because the guidelines are so strict. I'm not saying don't social distance. I'm not saying don't wear a mask. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you can reopen some businesses safely, but they're just refusing
to do it.
And meanwhile, the Anaheim economy is collapsing because Newsom refuses to let them open Disneyland.
Right. Well, the guidelines that he gave apparently were ridiculous. And it wasn't just for Disney, it was for theme parks in general. And then the theme park organization pushed back. And now, he's basically, I'm in no hurry. Clearly.
It doesn't affect him, does it?
No, but it's really, really weird. Like other industries can open, other things can, but he is going out of his way to make sure that Disneyland cannot. For whatever reason, I don't know what the deal is. I'm not from California. I'm not going to claim I know. It just, outsider looking in, it seems very, odd.
Yeah, because I think some of the rules, and it could be that, some of it's, Disney doesn't want to concede, because I did read that they were like, well, you had to be within like 100 or 140 mile radius of Disneyland to visit. So you couldn't get anybody from out of town. Pretty much you had to be within driving distance. Things like that they weren't real happy with, because of course they're trying to fill up the hotels, and Disney has to look at like, are we going to spend more money opening this park than we're going to generate in revenue?
Right.
And that's what they're going to look at. They're going to be like, okay, so we bring people back to the hotels to work the hotels and work the rides and work the restaurants. And are we paying more in salaries than we're actually going to bring in because it's so strict?
Yeah.
So,
well, now they changed their focus anyway. The theme parks, they don't really give as much of a shit about it. Now they're going to go all in on streaming. Yeah.
So we're going to talk about all this. And what's really... this is where we're getting this like two-faced Mickey Mouse going on here. Like, we've got Disney on one hand complaining that the guidelines are too strict. Democratic Governor Newsom, is putting the kibosh on this, and that, we need to open up, we need to open up, we need to open up. They're backhand slapping Elizabeth Warren,
right,
for calling them out on the way they treated their employees,
which people like us have been doing for a while,
right? And so we got on one hand, but then on the other hand, apparently, almost everybody at Disney is going all in on Joe Biden.
Yeah. Now this is from WDW Pro. Somebody that's an insider. We cannot speak to this because we honestly are not on the inside of it to be able to say so. Not in this regard.
Right. So he did put a disclaimer. This is out on piratesandprincesses.net. You can check this article out. There is a disclaimer. It's not about taking a political position. It's about showing where Disney is putting their money. And it's weird because you would think that if Disney has an issue with Democrats right now, Elizabeth Warren and Governor Newsom, that they might be a little more willing to toss some money in the red direction to get themselves opened up, but that does not seem to be the case.
No, and we've heard that if it gets worse, that certain political sides want to shut it all down, which is going to cause more problems. So
right.
it just seems counterintuitive, I guess, is what Pro is saying in this article. It is his opinion, his article. We're just reporting what he said.
Yeah. So what he did is he basically looked to see where the donations were coming from Disney employees. And the vast majority are going to Democratic candidates. It said after some digging, it turns out Disney as a corporation has donated more than $230,000 in political contributions during 2020.
I'm sure they would have donated more, but they didn't have the money.
Well, that's what he said. He says actually...
Oh, yeah, I didn't even read that.
It's actually down significantly from other years, suggesting that the cash might not be flowing so freely. Now, this is what they've given to... being spent by Disney employees in their political enterprises to fund Trump, $73,000. Here's what is going to Joe Biden, $512,000, like nearly 5 or 6 times as much. In 2020, Disney employees in their political enterprises have reportedly spent $2,873,000 to help Democrats win. That's 91%.
Wait. But here, beyond the politics thing, I just, when you're going on, okay, these employees are going on that in 2020, they don't have money. They're laid off. A lot of them were laid off for months. They were asking for help. They needed help. They needed money, but they had enough money to give $2.8 million to Democrats. I mean, it wouldn't have mattered if it was Republicans even. It wouldn't have mattered. That's all I'm talking about.
That they're giving to political candidates.
They have money to spend on political, the political things like this. But then they're like, we're laid off, feel bad for us, and which I do. And people are doing fundraising of things and that for them Disney employees. But they had $2.8 million to give to political things. That just seems weird.
Yeah, I know. Well, here's his theory is that he thinks it has to do with China because we know the GOP is starting to investigate.
Well, they should.
Disney's connections to China.
They should.
And Disney, China is the biggest box office in the world now. Apparently, that's I was reading, and they want that Chinese money.
So wait. So it's okay to film near concentration camp. I'm sorry, re-education centers.
Re-education centers, yes. Education.
As long as they're getting the money for it.
Yes, I think that's the takeaway.
Okay, I don't know. This is the first time I've been reading or hearing this. So
yeah. So there's a lot of machinations going on behind the scenes. So it's Disney does what's best for Disney. And what's best for Disney at this point is they want to make as much money as they can because they're hemorrhaging cash. If that means sticking it to their employees. But
here's what I'm looking at. It's from somebody outside looking in. I'm not taking a political side at all. I'm just outside looking in. Disney World is in Florida,
yes,
which is run by a Republican governor.
Yeah.
They were allowed to reopen.
Yeah.
With guidelines. They're the only money they've been getting for quite a bit of the stuff for Disney has been Disney World, which was reopened because of a Republican governor pushing it through. Disneyland has a Democrat governor in California, refuses to let people open parks and other things. They're losing a shit ton of money and they're whining about it. They're out there publicly yelling about, Newsom and everything else, but they're putting all their money towards the party that's keeping them shut down. This does not, and then they're yelling about how you should get government bailouts. This whole thing doesn't make sense. I mean, I'm just not taking either side, Republican or Democrat. I'm just saying from just looking at it, looking at the facts, looking at what's going on. Because we're in the middle anyway, so we don't really go either way. But looking at the facts, you have one state and you have 2 different states, tale of 2 states, 2 different governors, 2 different colors, and you're seeing 2 different outcomes. And they're all pissed about the outcome in California, but they're giving more money to keep that to that party that's keeping that outcome the way it is. And they're saying flat out they might make that mandatory for the country if it continues.
Well,
depending on who wins.
Yeah, that was what I was kind of looking into, that Biden is going to be a lot more strict with travel regulations. Now, both Trump and Biden want to help the travel industry, but they're talking about like tracing people where they're coming from and tracking them and all this other
Now, I'm not trying to be
stuff.
a dick here, but if other people had said that, they would have been in trouble for it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like when you're looking at it objectively and you're trying to just look at the facts and you're seeing the double standards right and left. It's just, and you just sit there like, really?
Well, I think that's what Pro was trying to say is basically this comes down to China because we know the GOP is really looking into Disney and their connection to the CCP.
Mm-hmm, which they should.
That could potentially damage Hollywood's relationship with China. They could break that relationship.
Well, it's not just them. The Department of Defense has been taking issue with things and refusing to work with a film studio if they're working with China because of some sensitive information and things. It goes beyond that. But I'm just like, truth be told, I don't like either one of them. I think they're both. I don't like Trump or Biden, honestly. I think we had much better candidates the way around and we didn't get them.
They tanked them.
Yes.
They tag
I don't
them.
really care for either one of them. So I'm an equal opportunity. I equally don't like them both.
Equal opportunity hater.
I'm just like, from somebody outside looking in, I just don't understand the logic behind it. And then they're going to yell and scream if they get their way when they can't, when everything shuts down and then they're effed again. They should get bailouts and they should be given stuff handed to them so they can stay in business. But they're the ones who perpetuated this, they knew it was going to happen and did it anyway.
If Disney World wasn't open right now, the Disney company would be fucked beyond belief.
Amen.
Disney World right now is pretty much propping up, and it's a fraction of the revenue they're used to making. But if they didn't even have that, they would be in just more dire straits than they already are. Disney Plus is not going to turn a profit for years. They knew that going into it. They're trying to razzle dazzle the investors, but right now, the vast majority of their income is coming from the parks, from Disney World, which is why you're seeing them, upcharge all this crap all of a sudden and have all these pop-up events and whatever.
Right. And using discounts for annual pass holders to try to get people to come in and buy, stuff, their merchandise, because no one else is buying it. They're not there to buy it.
So you would think that they would be on board with the Republicans in that regard, because a Republican governor probably would have opened up California more so than it's been open. I'm just saying, it does seem like a conflict of interest.
That's all I'm saying. It's like, because they're like, oh my God. It's like, no, this is just looking at it from an outside perspective. And this is the facts. This is how it's laid out. Here's the numbers. Does it make sense? No, it really doesn't make much sense.
Meanwhile, the people suffering the most are the cast members.
Yes, because Disney keeps saying about how, we're gonna boost shareholder wealth. They don't give two shits about the cast members. They've made that abundantly clear, which we've been calling that out for quite a while now.
Yeah. So apparently, some of the 28,000 Disney Parks cast members that were laid off are also going to lose their free education through Disney Aspire. That's one of the big perks of working in the parks, is that they will pay for you to go to
Right, they pay for it. They help pay for tuition and books as well. This is coming from WDW News Today. I want to make sure I give them credit.
Yeah.
And they got it from Orlando Sentinel. So this is coming from a Florida perspective because it was from the Orlando Sentinel. But this will apply also in California. So what's going on is basically those people that were getting the free education, they're kind of like, well, that's ending.
Yeah, they started a couple of years ago, and I remember them making a huge deal about this.
They did, and I did applaud them for that. I thought that was really, really cool that they did that. But they said that, go ahead.
Yeah, well, this is a Disney spokesperson came out. Andrew Finger said, while the pandemic has challenged our business and our workforce in immeasurable ways, the Disney Aspire initiative remains important to us. Disney Aspire will continue to be available to our eligible employees, including those who are on furlough.
Eligible. So basically, if you are laid off, you're no longer eligible. And that's affecting people who have been doing it. And they said that, there's some cast members who are going to be allowed to continue based on, well, this is interesting. Laid off cast members currently enrolled will be allowed to finish this semester if they're learning a trade, English, or getting their GEDs. They can finish their program.
Okay.
So if you're doing those things, but if you're in another program, if you have 18 credits or less, they'll work with you to finish it. But otherwise, one person almost has a degree and they're like more like 20 credits away. So they're not going to get the help. And somebody else, is still working on it. And that's how they were getting through. And they give some stories from different people. And it's just.
Yeah. I mean, this is a lot of people are like, well, I'll go work for Disney, even though, I probably could make better money someplace else if they're going to help me pay for school. Because in the long run, it's going to benefit me. And now that's crumbling too, and they don't. I mean, look, they're being squeezed in ways they've never been squeezed before. That doesn't.
But you know what? They had no problem squeezing guests.
That's it. That's the issue.
It's called karma.
That's the issue, and that's what I actually do agree with Elizabeth Warren, and I agree with Abigail Disney that they had no problem reinstating executives' full pay, which is already outrageous to begin with. Meanwhile, these folks are out the damn door, and now they're going to lose. They had a glimmer of hope. They're like, well, I can get my education at least, and I can go find a job in another industry. Because honestly, at this point, working in the travel industry, I think is suicide. I think it
at least
really
for the next few years.
For the next few years, I think you need to go outside the travel industry. In Florida, especially, if they've learned nothing from this. Central Florida needs to diversify.
I agree.
And not rely solely on travel.
Well, I think there's going to be a big boost to the travel industry in a couple of years when they suddenly feel like they're safe enough to go. I think everybody's going to want to travel because they're like, oh my God, I was locked up for 2 years. But that's just going to be like a quick, everybody's going to take a trip at once, and then it's going to like slack off. So I don't know, but it's just a mess.
Cast members are basically on their own. They're trying to help each other out. Raising money for the cast member food pantry. I mean, there are lines miles long.
Yep. I did a story on it at PMP before. We've donated money ourselves. It's just, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. So it's a tragic situation. I just thought, to bring it back to the very beginning, to have the LA Times, of all the stuff to be worried about, of all the things to be worried about, of all the misery that these Disney employees are going through right now, to bring up that influencers are put out.
Because this comment, Disneyland superfan misses her weekly visits to the happiest place on earth.
Disneyland employees missed their weekly grocery orders because it's closed. Now
they might not get to finish their college degree because that they got laid off or permanently laid off.
But God forbid we don't get enough selfies
of ourselves in front of Disney.
Yeah.
Yes, just keep sitting in front of the castle with your arms in the air, being, look at me, here I am. Yeah, just keep doing that. That's and then say you're all for helping the cast members out. Good, go you.
Yeah, so you might want to reevaluate your priorities there, Disney. We know you listen. So, think long and hard about where you want your company to be in the next few years, because the decisions you make today will undoubtedly affect the outcome of Disney.
Oh, and it's on me, God, if it turns out a certain way and they have to shut down again, I do not want to hear it.
Yeah.
I do not want to even hear it.
Cry me a river at that point.
Yeah, I don't care.
All right.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's like you did it to yourself. You blew yourself up.
If you say I'm biased and then and apolitical, I'd be like, okay, you know what? That's not your fault. But if you're choosing that's what you get what you deserve. It's like someone keeps telling you, if you touch that candle, you might get burned. If you touch that candle, you might get burned. You touch that candle, ouch! And then you whine about it. It's like, just stop. I don't know. 2020. This election's over. I will be so glad. I think it's going to get worse after.
I think it's going to get worse.
I just want this whole thing to be over. I'm so effing tired of hearing about it.
Yeah.
I don't even care at this point. Just be over.
A few more weeks. Well, I'd like to say that, but I don't think it's. Oh
no, it's not. Because as soon as it's over, they'll start. Besides the fact that there's going to be the biggest shitstorm of all time, no matter who wins, then the whining will commence. It'll be immediately like it's been the last 2 decades, campaigning for the next election as soon as the one's over, and nothing gets done, nothing helps people, and nothing changes.
It's like
so that's why I said I don't care who wins.
It's like the body's not even cold yet. Why are we thinking about the next 4 years?
It's the same thing either way. I'm going to be completely honest. I don't like either candidate because it's going to be more of the same, and I know it.
Yeah.
So there we go.
Anyway, we're going to wrap this up. Again, best wishes, and we're definitely thinking about a lot of the cast members. We have friends that are cast members. We have cast members coming to us. They're getting caught in the crossfire of this pissing match, and it's really, really unfortunate. So we're going to wrap it up.
Yep.
Okay, we'll talk to you guys later.
Bye.